Hi, it's Paul Jones here. How you going? Just want to give you some information about the tour to England and Germany. So when we were over there, we saw 5 games while we were away. This is one of the games we saw, which was Manchester United versus Spurs, which was a pretty special game. I think David De Gea made 7 saves that day, and United ended up winning 1-0, so it was a pretty big day. The time of the year we go, you generally get a couple of FA Cup games. So we went and saw Manchester City versus Rotherham, which was pretty special. Basically, then we go into the actual tour component of it. So there's 2 tours in one. There's part 1 of the tour, which is exclusively to England. That goes from the 7th of January through to the 19th of January, and as I said, that's England only. Then there's part 2 of the tour, which goes from the 19th of January through to the 25th of January, and that is England. That's the Germany part of the tour. Basically, part 1 of the tour is 13 days, 12 nights, 12 breakfasts. It's between 5 and 6 dinners. You have to cater for yourself for the other 5 or 6 dinners, which you generally do anyway, just because you're out doing stuff. 8 to 9 training sessions, 2 stadium tours. I've just spoken to a friend of mine who's just come back from one of these tours, and they did the Spurs tour, and it was absolutely unbelievable. So we will certainly be going there. In addition to the stadium tours, you get your transfers to and from the airport. So when you arrive, there's a bus there waiting at Heathrow for us. That is from the 7th. If you arrive beforehand, you either have to meet us at Heathrow, where the bus will be, or you make your own way to St George's Park, which a lot of people did last tour. Transfers to and from all games and all hotels and any group events. And that's important to understand, is the bus is only there for group events. So if there's sort of 10 or 15 people want to do something as a group, we can get access to the bus generally. But if you want to duck off to London by yourself, you get your own way to London by yourself. The second part of the tour is in Germany. So it's 6 days in Germany. So the costing includes your return flights to Germany from London, 6 nights accommodation, 6 breakfasts, 4 dinners, 6 training sessions, 1 stadium tour, and once again, we'll probably get some games while we're there as well. So once again, just going over the England dates. This is the proposed schedule for England. We'll go St George's Park for 2 days. We do have 9 training sessions. Last time we went to Spurs, we want to try and include my beloved West Ham in this tour. We're not going because I love West Ham, but we're going because I think I've been told it's very, very good setup there, which is great. Be 5 days in London, and then 5 days in Liverpool, should I say, then 5 days in London, plus 3 EPL games, and or 2 championships, FA Cup games, 2 stadium tours in there. And I know I've got Anfield and Wembley there, but more than likely we will do possibly Anfield as well, but because it's a new stadium, but also we'll probably do the new Spurs stadium. And also we might try and get to see a women's game as well, which is, the women's football over there is fantastic. So if we can do that, that'd be really, really good. Part 2 of the tour is optional. So that basically, like I said, it goes from the 19th through the 26th. So there's 6 days in Germany. So we will probably base ourselves in Cologne for 6 days. Having been to Cologne, it's a beautiful city. So it'd be great to go back there again. 4 training sessions, venues, we don't know where they'll be there, but there's about 12 or 14 clubs around that area in Cologne. 1 stadium tour, hopefully a couple of Bundesliga games over the weekend. And also something they do in Germany that they don't do in England is they do open training sessions where you actually can get to go and watch the training session of the team, like 2 days before they play. So you get to see the superstars of the game and the people you're going to go and watch on the weekend, literally 2 and 3 metres away from you. So one of our goalkeepers did that on a personal tour a couple of years ago, and he said it was the most unbelievable experience. So hopefully we'll get to do that as well. With package options, there's basically a couple options. There's a land and flights package, and basically we put that out there so that we can do everything for you. We organise the flights, all the accommodation, everything is done for you, and there's nothing else for you to worry about apart from turning up on the day and bring your passport. The downside of that is that when you book flights as a group, flights are always more expensive. So what they do is they take the cheapest flight on the group that's available at the time, then they take the most expensive and they go dead centre in the middle. So We used to do that, but we used to find our flights used to cost nearly $1,000 more per person doing it that way than if you booked individually. So we can have another chat about that moving forward if you want. Option 2 is that you do a land-only component in England, which means that you organise your own flights and you get to Heathrow on the 7th of January and in the morning. So the bus leaves about 8:30 in the morning. And then you jump on the bus, and then we take care of you moving forward from there. Option 3 is not really, it's an option to include it. So basically, if you do Germany is $2,695 on top of the England-only fare. So it probably shouldn't be an option, probably should just be an additional opportunity. So yeah, that's basically on top of that there. And once again, once you're with us, you go with us for the whole way right through. Additional information is for goalkeepers only. No, we have lots of families. I think last time we had 26 goalkeepers on tour, and we actually had 54 people on tour as a group. So it was a little bit more. More than half of the people were family and friends and stuff like that. So that was pretty good. And it's a real great experience to share with your loved ones. So rather than just being, it's just a goalkeeping tour, it's a fantastic experience. Is there any age restrictions? We've got a couple young ones on the tour, but generally there's no real age restriction. And groups are split up into ability, relevance, and age. In England, they're very strict on the age relevance side of things. So there's no chance as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, you're going to be training with a 12-year-old. They just will not allow that to happen. In England, it's 1 year above, 1 year below. So if you're 16, you can train with 17-year-olds, or you can train with 14-year-olds, but you can't. In addition to the flights and the accommodation, there is a training kit requirement. Because we train every day, you need 2 training kits. So you train on one day, we then wash that kit the next day, and you use your second training kit for sessions that have been done on the second day. And those kits are rotated as you go along. Our current kit is a red, white and kit that we'll be using for this year, for 2021. And then 2022, we'll be changing our kit over. But that's the kit that you'll take on the England tour. So you won't need to rebuy a kit in 2022. Does a player need a parent to come along with them? No, they don't. If they're 12 or younger, they do. If they're 13, we prefer a parent. But if they're above 13, 14 above, you don't need to bring a parent along. I think it's a great experience to share with your child. And it's a great opportunity if something does happen over there to have a parent there. Like we had one girl, Izzy Davies. She was liked by Tottenham. So the fact that her parents were there made it very easy for us to turn around and organise for her to stay on for a week or 10 days and train with Tottenham for 10 days. Don't go on the tour, expect that to happen, but because it just doesn't happen that often. But if someone does well, it is good having a parent there. But it's the general overall experience of watching your child at the games and experiences that you tend to share for years to come. Number of staff. Basically, there'll be 2 staff and a 3rd chaperone. So the 2 staff are Jules, who's our team physio, and myself. And my wife comes along as a chaperone as if we need an additional parent somewhere. She's always there to make sure that we have an extra person there. Rooming arrangements. If you are travelling with your child, you will generally share a room with them. If you don't want to share a room with them, you can ask to share with somebody else, or you can organise, or we can organise for you to have your own room. There's generally all the pricing is done on a co-share arrangement. So if you choose to want your own room, which a number of people have done over the years, there's a slight change. I don't know what it is, but there's a slight additional charge there. But the other last one of the additional information is that if your child is travelling without a parent, flights and transfer, Jules comes back at the end of the tour. So you'd have to do the Germany leg if your child is travelling by themselves as well, because Jules will come back and Jules will bring them back to Sydney, and then we'll have to make arrangements to get them from Sydney after that. So generally what's happened in the past, people have met us in Sydney, and then we've just gone from there. Sorry, one other thing, match tickets. Basically, all match tickets you pay for yourself. You can go to one game, no games, every single game you want. Having been to in excess of 50, 60, 70 Premier League games over the years, every opportunity you get to go to a game, particularly if you're the goalkeepers, take it. Tickets are sold at face value. So generally we have good contacts through the people in England, and we get all tickets at face value. The only time that isn't the case is if it's a special event game. So in the special event game, for example, a number of years ago, we saw Manchester City versus Liverpool in the Carling Cup. And one of the kids said, "I wouldn't be great if we can go to that." And our people are so well connected, they said, "We can get you tickets, but they'll be through a broker, and brokers have fees." So I think we paid £80 or £90 for the ticket. So, but generally tickets are around that. For kids, around £15 to £20, and for adults, around that £25 to £50, occasionally £60 a ticket for the A grade games. Some other general information: it's going to be cold and potentially wet, so make sure that you pack a towel for the kids to use. Make sure they got warm clothes. Thermos are really, really important. Gloves are really important. Not goalkeeper gloves, warm gloves. They probably need to take 2 pairs of goalkeeping gloves with them because we train so much overseas. And they'll have 2 spray jackets with their kits, but the reality is that they'll still need a big jacket, which we do offer puffer jackets as well, as an extra if you'd like, but there's no need to buy one if you've already got parkas. Free time, basically parents and players have free time. So if you're with your child, once we get back from training or once training's finished, the time is yours. So you can do whatever you want. If you want to, in London, you want to go to the theatre or you want to skip dinner with us or whatever you want. It's not like a team tour where there's games, we've got pre-match meals and team meetings. Honestly, you go and train, then the time is free to do what you want. If your child is travelling by themselves, their free time is not so free. Their free time is with my wife and I. So, or my wife and I and Jules. So basically what will happen is that if we're around London and we're doing a bit of a walk around London and a child doesn't have a parent there, they will spend the time with us and we'll take them around London. My wife and I and Jules have been to London that many times. We generally do what the players want to do, which generally involves going to Lily White's at some stage, the biggest sports store in the Northern Hemisphere. 7 floors of sporting product, but fourth floor is the big one because that's the football floor. But then we just take them around London and spend some time with them, but they'll be with us. Photography at training. We generally have people taking photographs at training. Last time we had a person come onto the pitch and take photographs. I'm not sure we'll do that this time. It actually caused a few problems. So, but once you're at the ground, it's generally not a problem to take as many photos as you want. The only issue is if there's children that are at the ground from clubs that we can't take photographs around because they're very strict on that in England. And you can't go into the playing area at all. So that's photography side of things. Can parents attend all training sessions? Everywhere except Fulham, and we didn't use Fulham last time. Fulham have a rule, and I don't understand why the rule's there, but it's their club, their rules. So, everywhere else allows parents to go and watch the training session. The kids will often go off and get prepared, and then they'll have to bring the parents out after that. Last time we went to Fleetwood for our first training session, and it was about 1 degree. It was wet and it was cold, and Fleetwood have a very nice bar and bistro. No parents come out to watch training. I couldn't understand why. Anyway, they had a good time. So those facilities are generally available at times. Tickets we spoke about already. Who looks after the goalkeepers and non-football stuff? Once again, we've spoken about that. Spending money, this is entirely up to you. Once you're there, apart from needing to buy some tickets for games and a few meals, maybe 10 meals over the 12 days there, you don't really need an awful lot of spending money apart from things you might want to buy. Health issues. Basically, we bring Jules along. Jules is a very experienced physio. He's been a national team physio. He's been with the Canberra Raiders. He's been with the Canberra Brumbies. and he's a very, very, first intelligent man, but a very experienced man. So we bring him along as a safety blanket. So basically his role is there as if to be as a advisor to us. Because we're a country of a British colony, we have good relationships with England and generally with Europe. So the health system, health issues aren't generally an issue, and we would strongly encourage you to get travel insurance as well whenever you travel anywhere in the world, but certainly when you're travelling on tours with sporting tours. The role of the physio is not there to treat every little niggle. He's basically there for taping and handling injuries as they happen. He's not going to be there giving massages every day, and like we'll do some stretching sessions while we're away there and some recovery sessions. But it's basically there to handle whatever we have to get kids on the park, so they maximise the opportunities to train as often as they can. And to be honest, I think we've run 7 tours now. I think we've probably lost maybe 4 or 5 training sessions. And when I mean training sessions, kids that have missed a training session over the 6 or 7 tours. So he does an unbelievable job. The guys in Canberra all know him, and the guys who won our last tour that are coming on this one, they'll know him as well. But he's fantastic. And travel insurance can be organised through FFI Sports Tours or organise your own. I generally just do mine online. I've done online for my personal travel and tour travel, and it's just simple, easy, and it's often cheaper online. Training groups that we spoke about, I'll allocate them, and they're generally done on ability and age. Washing of gear, the players will bring the gear down each day to the reception area, and there will be a bag there, and all the washing will go into that bag, and it will be done for them. Personal washing is responsibility of the individuals. So if anyone who doesn't have a child there, basically what happened the last couple of times, generally 1 or 2 of the parents just muck in and help out there. So, but otherwise my wife and I will go with them to a laundromat, and we just find a laundromat and do the washing for them. Use of bus outside of the group just can't be done. It's a group bus. So unless we're doing a group activity, the bus is sort of out of order. Meals away from the group. If you choose to eat away from the group, which you're entitled to do, there's no refund, and the meals will be your own expense. What we do sometimes, though, is particularly in London, when people want to get away, if enough people want to get away and don't want to share a meal or don't want to have a meal as a group, we actually just do give a £10 allotment to go and buy a meal yourself. That happens at the with permission of the tour operators, and we have no real control over that. So yeah. If you've got any other questions, please don't be frightened to give me a bell. So next question is, where do we go from here? There's a $500 deposit needs to be paid sort of ASAP to commit yourself to the tour. Second payment's in March 2000, which is 15%, depending on which tour you go on, depends on what it is. And then the final payments need to be made around September, October-ish. But that's basically it. We obviously need your any medical information as we go along. Your passport needs to have a minimum of 6 months left on your passport, and then that's really important because you won't get out of the country, or more importantly, you won't get back in the country. Just a correction, your last payment has to be made in December, which is a month basically before you go. Like I said, if you've got any other information or you need any other information, please give me a bell, and then we can go from there.